being engaged on places like LinkedIn and reading articles and, being curious, asking questions, again, networking, building relationships. Again, everything comes back to building relationships for me. If you can build relationships, if you can connect, then you have a very high success rate in terms of being able to build a team or work independently on a project. The opportunities are endless, in my opinion. What are the resources that are available to us to find the talent and learn the trends, and not just learn the trends to be trendy, but to learn the trends to ensure that we are finding the best talent. We're looking for people with like a well-rounded experience, but again, it's all about the mission fuel. And like, are you excited about what we're doing? Can you get behind what we're doing? And if you can, like, the opportunities are endless.
Good morning. So today I have Jacqueline with us, a dynamic and passionate leader with a diverse skill set. From building and developing teams to managing talent and employee engagement, Jacqueline has a proven track record of success across a range of industries, including biotech, tech, SaaS, and wealth management. With a talent for project management and a dedication to operational excellence, Jacqueline has a knack of executing impactful enterprise initiatives with that drive results. Let's welcome Jacqueline on 10 Minutes of Hiring Wisdom, where she will tell us about what she's learned along the way and what we can learn from her learning. Hi, Jacqueline. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, Jacqueline, first question. What inspired you to pursue a career in leadership and team development in the first place?
That's a great question. I've always been really inspired by leaders that I have worked for in the past, and I have a strong drive to help people develop in their careers and find their passions. And so over the years, in my experiences, leading others and being led by others, strong leaders, women and men, it has come to me, and it makes me excited.
Okay, I think a follow-up question for that is one of the great characteristics of a leader is who can put together people who can work together in a way that is highly optimized, highly productive. So what are some of the skills or traits that you deploy when you're actually creating high functional teams?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's funny. I actually just took an assessment. It's called the Energy Leadership Assessment, and it basically helps you understand what it's an attitudinal assessment to understand, what drives you and how you lead with your different types of energy. And one of my highest scoring things or results was essentially that I am an intuitive leader and I am able to connect people in a way that is unique to the workforce, unique to in personal relationships. And so for me, it's all about building diverse teams. Diversity of thought is super important, but also just like general energy and what people are bringing to the table from a skill set background, their personal life. I don't think that there is a balance, or I don't think that there's a difference between personal life and work life. I actually think that they're very closely intertwined. And so how you were raised, where you grew up, your values, your morals, all of those things come into who you are as a human. And so when you bring those different types of humans together, as long as you're working towards the same mission and the same vision, same goals, there's literally the ceiling, there's no ceiling. And people are able to really work together. So I would say that, I don't know if I answered your question directly, but I think like the traits that I bring are really that of a connector and a relationship builder. And those things are critical to anybody's role, in my opinion. If you can build relationships, if you can connect, then you have a very high success rate in terms of being able to build a team or work independently on a project. The opportunities are endless, in my opinion.
I love that. I think I love how you tied it all down to a sense of shared purpose, a sense of shared vision, because you can bring in people from different backgrounds, different cultures, but when you have a shared vision that you're working towards solving a similar problem, I think people can set aside those differences and come up with solutions that would best cater to the company's vision. So thank you so much for sharing that. Jacqueline, a follow-up question for that would be I think at first it was easier to build cross-functional teams because people could come into work, you could get them in the room, brainstorm. But I think with COVID, the work environment changed. People started working remotely. So what are some of the things that you do to get teams working together, collaborating in a most functional and optimized way?
That's a great question. So I've been working remotely for 7+ years. So when COVID hit, I had already been working remotely for almost 5 years. And so working remotely is not new to me. It was not new to me. And I would say, again, to optimize productivity, to be efficient and effective in your work, it comes down to having relationships, being able to trust the people that you work with, being able to really have open dialogue with people over a screen. And, there's tactics that you can put into place, like Word documents and like shared documents and things like that, to align on something and be able to co-collaborate on a document or whatever. But I think when it comes down to optimizing productivity, it all stems back to relationship building and your ability to work with people that you trust. If you don't trust the people you work with, if you, again, aren't working towards the same purpose or the same goals, it's very unlikely that you'll be as successful as you want to be. And again, so personally for me, working remotely for 7 years, I did travel back to offices every once in a while to be in person and be part of meetings and whatnot. But ultimately, it was really about creating that relationship over a screen and feeling like I could trust the people that I was working with on a day-to-day basis, and engaging with them in a way that was not topical. I don't like surface level conversation. I like deep conversation, right? So it's like being part of something, working towards the same purpose, building your relationships to be productive in your own right. Find your boundaries, right? Like not working 24 hours a day, but finding those niches of time within the day where you're productive. You can get work done, but you can also attend meetings. So finding boundaries is also important.
I love how you're not into micromanaging people and give people the flexibility to come up with their own routine, which is especially important because sometimes some people work at 3 a.m. just because they like when the world is quiet. I'm one of those people. But some people like to work at early morning just because that's when, after a cup of coffee, they feel more productive. So thank you so much for sharing that, Jacqueline. I think a follow-up question would be the world is constantly changing. Trends in the world are constantly changing. But when it comes to talent engagement and leadership qualities, how do you stay up to date with most of the new trends that are coming in to make sure that you can constantly improve yourself as a leader?
Yeah, that is something that is a challenge for everybody. I would say reading, being engaged on places like LinkedIn and reading articles and, being curious, asking questions, again, networking, building relationships. Again, everything comes back to building relationships for me. And I think just like understanding who are the people that you want to learn from and that you can engage with to learn from, and what are the resources that are available to us to find the talent and learn the trends, and not just learn the trends to be trendy, but to learn the trends to ensure that we are finding the best talent. I think, networking, I don't know if this is a question that you're going to ask, but advice that I have for people is, and it's not just about networking. I think networking can sometimes be a negative word for people if you're not an extrovert, if you don't want to go to an event that you just have to, ask people how the weather is, right? That's not necessarily enticing to people. But I think if there's a different way to frame it around connecting and, again, building a foundation for conversation and being able to ask questions of one another and know that like you might be bringing something to the table that someone else may not be, and vice versa. And I think that conversation is what helps you understand the trends, and it helps you understand how you can get to the best talent, how you can get the best talent to come to you. And, we don't go by, we just have a posting and we look through all the postings and all the resumes that come through a posting. We care a lot about, do you have a passion for what we're doing? Are you fueled by our mission? Do you care about what's going on in the greater world around you, right? Because this is part of what our company does, is about, public health and like what's going on around us. And so I think that's kind of my 2 cents about it. again, it's a lot of connecting and not just following a trend to be trendy. I think it's more important about following a trend that works for you and works for your organization. The new trends are out there. Posting videos on TikTok is not going to work for like every company out there, right? So finding what works for an organization. It speaks to the variety of generations.
I think I love the way you phrase it. Don't follow trends just to be trendy, but make sure you follow it just because you actually want to learn and implement them. So thank you so much for sharing that, Jacqueline. Last question, Jacqueline, you did touch upon that in your previous answer, but can you tell us a little bit more about your company and what your company is hiding and growing?
Yeah, so I work for a company called Ginkgo Bioworks. We are a synthetic biology company, one of the only synthetic biology companies in the biotech space based in Boston. We have people all around the country and around the world now, but I work for them on the people team, and we actually have a strategic business unit called Concentric by Ginkgo. And Concentric by Ginkgo originally started as we were in response to the pandemic, and so we built an infrastructure to provide pooled COVID testing to K through 12 schools across the United States. And so that was kind of how we got started. But now we're moving into more of a biosecurity infrastructure where we're talking about surveillance and monitoring and pathogens and trying to figure out, what's going to happen? When's the next pandemic? What's this weather map of pathogens around the world? And how do we find it, to spot it, and to share it out to the world? So there's a lot more behind that. That's like too level. I don't know if my boss would love that overview, but generally, that's what we're doing. And so there's a synthetic biology part of the organization. That's how we caring about how our platform is used, caring about how we re-engineer DNA, making sure that we're not using it for malicious use, and biosecurity is part of that. And so we have a lot of job openings. On the Ginkgo side, we have like microbial engineers and organism engineers and mammalian engineers and people that are really working in our foundry to re-engineer DNA and use it for really great stuff. And we have like business development roles open as well on that side. And then on the Concentric side, we are always looking for good people. And I would say the same for Ginkgo on the cell engineering side. We're always looking for good people. So, we have a really strong team of recruiters that are looking at talent on a regular basis, going through resumes, connecting on LinkedIn. So we're just really always looking for awesome people. On the Concentric side, I would say we go through ebbs and flows of hiring kind of like your general athlete, if you will, somebody who has maybe a consulting background or an operational background and is really looking to just like get into this kind of startup environment, get your feet wet, get your hands dirty, and just jump in. So yeah, and we're also looking for business development people, but we're looking for people with like a well-rounded experience. But again, it's all about the mission fuel. And like, are you excited about what we're doing? Can you get behind what we're doing? And if you can, like, the opportunities are endless. So I would say we have our website is up, www.ginkgobioworks.com, GinkgoBioworks. And all careers are posted there. And so it's I'm sure you can post the website if you'd like on the posting. We're just looking for great people all the time, top talent, a lot of engineers as well. We're looking for software engineers. So.
Okay, well, Jackie, your company is definitely doing something right because it's growing during a time when a lot of companies are laying off. I'm glad your company is managed to make a difference in this world, especially because I think the COVID shocked the way the world operated. But considering a company like this exists who is looking for the next pandemic, how it's going to occur, is very important. But thank you so much for coming on the show, Jackie, for sharing about your wonderful company, what you've learned along the way, and how you got into leadership and talent engagement. It was a pleasure learning from you, learning about the fact that you shouldn't just learn trends just to become trendy, but you should actually learn it just because you want to make a difference. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Thank you.